We just got out of Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah, this is the weakest entry in Phase 3. I mean, I thought Doctor Strange was, like, the weakest until I saw this. I just feel like this takes a step back. We have the greatness of Infinity War, and then we get into Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's not a bad movie. It's just there's so much going on, character-wise. I think if they just stuck with their guns when it came to the whole finding Janet Van Dyne, that would have been cool. I like how they took some cues from the comic when it comes to Hank Pym. Ghost, forgettable villain, that motivation was really not there, but I mean, that's the thing, there really isn't a true villain. There are just all these characters, like, you have the street thug, that has their own organization. Then you have the FBI after. It's just, there's a lot going on. You just, at the end of the day, you don't care. I hate the fact that every single scene was in the trailer. And again, I just feel like the post-credit scene was super predictable. This is just a step back in this universe. Hopefully Captain Marvel will be able to revive Phase 3. I'm going to give it, it's the fun movie. I'm going to give it a 2.5. I'm kind of regretting it. I'm regretting it. 2.5.
Suck a fart, Jared. A handy dandy notebook. You guys. Anyways, I liked it. I think we were all kind of saying like the hype for this movie wasn't really there because you're coming off of Infinity War. It's kind of like going down a little bit. And Ant-Man, compared to all the other Avengers, he is like that B-level Avenger, like kind of minor league. But not to say this was bad. I thought it was really good. It was like this movie was like funnier than actual like comedies. Like I was in tears. There's a scene in the movie where Paul Rudd is at a grade school, shrunk down as like a little kid in like a little blue hoodie. I was laughing nonstop for like that whole scene. So look out for that scene. I think the villains, like you were saying, they were very forgettable because you're coming off Killmonger and Thanos, so it's like super nosedive for, I don't even know, what was the girl's name, Ava?
Ghost.
Or something? Ghost. Yeah, very forgettable. Cool to see Lawrence Fishburne in there. That was, and then Stan Lee had this is one of his best cameos as Zion. I think Michael Pena's character stole the show. Paul Rudd's little, like, I don't know what you would call them, little group.
His support team.
And like, not to spoil the end credits, but you kind of know where it's leading.
I think
awesome. Like the one after the credits is, it's a funny one, but the first one is really good. I want to give it a 3 out of 4.
It's fucking dying up here. It's all hot, sweaty, and everything. So we got out of Ant-Man. I'm going to disagree with Jared. I'm not going to say it's the weakest one, and only because Doctor Strange is the weakest one in the Phase 3. But anyway, I feel as though this movie was a well-needed breather from after what everything in Infinity Wars. We got all the sadness and everything. So we get some comedy. I mean, granted, hands down, it's not what we wanted, but we got some funny stuff out of the whole thing. I mean, the whole thing in the school was pretty hilarious. Michael Pena is awesome. Paul Rudd is good. I would have to say, I just found it kind of awkward that when he grew so big, he lost air, but in the Civil War, he was fine. It just makes no fucking sense.
Nah, he
But
passed
anyway,
out.
wasn't.
Remember, he passed
He
out.
passed
That's
out.
why he said, does anybody have any orange slices?
And they say it in the movie, like, oh, how'd you feel afterwards? He's like, well, I was tired, slept for 3 days.
Well, it's just how much I pay attention to that part. But anyway, I would have to say, I would give it a 3 out of 4.
Good comedy, good balance, enjoyable, laugh throughout. Paul Rudd is still the king of comedy in these types of movies. Not much really to add other than the fact that Jared's rating sucks.
Oh my gosh.
No, I enjoyed it. It was a good balance to Infinity War, where you have the more serious movie and then you go into the lighthearted movie where it's just like, okay, I don't feel as stressed. But when you get to the mid-credit and post-credit scenes, I personally felt like that pit in my stomach, knowing like, uh-oh, something's going to happen. And the final one, as much of a joke as it is, you do notice that all the broadcasts are all just gone. Like, it actually shows you more of the real world's impact of the snapping. So, 3.5.
Don't stop the issue.
I will say I'm one of the people that did not actually like the first one. I didn't really care for it. This one, though, I think is 10 million times better than the first one. This one, I don't think, from what Jared says, I don't think the villain really didn't end up mattering anyway. We all kind of knew that the microverse is really the main purpose in this, and I think that they did it very well. I think they just covered it enough to get the gist of it, to get why we're here, and what's going to possibly happen with Avengers 4 and how we're going to all tie this in together. Paul Rudd was, I thought, a little bit better in this one. Seeing more of like actual Hank Pym was cool. I thought that was great. He's a great actor, and he follows the comic book version of himself very well, as a very hard-headed, kind of just not giving a shit guy. And I thought that was like really good. For this movie, I thought it was just as needed. It was good enough to happen right after Infinity War, and I think it's what was needed. And I thought it was just fine. So I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
I love this movie. I thought it was really good. I liked how it showed us actually repercussions of the whole Hydra shield thing. Because I don't know if any of you noticed, but like Ghost was a victim of Hydra part of shield, not of the shield.
Yeah, that's true.
Which you actually didn't see any of that like in any of the other movies besides Bucky. So that was kind of cool. I liked how it actually also showed us real world repercussions from Civil War. How Ant-Man's like allegedly stuck inside his house. He's not allowed to go out because otherwise you don't really see a cabin, Widow on the run in Infinity War, and you don't know how they're basically avoiding everything. The movie was hilarious throughout the whole thing. It was spot on, it was funny. It was way better than the first one, I thought. This is one of those rare movies where the sequel is actually, I think, way better than the original. I felt we needed this movie. Like, it was a little more lighthearted. I felt like Infinity War was so heavy that anything coming after it, you're not going to top, no matter what you do with it. But this movie isn't the type of movie that would top Infinity War. It's just a nice little thing that kind of complements it almost. And the thing with the Sting is, I feel like everyone knew it was coming. And I like how they made it fresh, because they didn't have us see them actually disappear, because we already saw that. But they had us show how they disappeared. I like how they added these little things to explain everything, but it was all background information. Like when they explained, they literally tell you verbatim how ghost powers work, but it's in the guise of a lecture the guys randomly just do it. So I thought that was pretty cool. They tell you everything about the microwaves. I even think, I don't know if this is real or not, but I'm pretty sure that he gets out using the time vortex, and that's why he ends up in the past in the next one. So, you know, look out for that. I might be right. Predicting it now on Guys Night.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. But that being said, I'm giving this movie a 3.5.
So, like my colleague said, this movie was okay in my opinion. I liked it a lot better. No, I take that back. I liked the first one a lot better than the second one. That's just my opinion. Ghost, I don't really consider her much of a villain in this movie. I just saw her as a desperate person just trying to live. So I don't really even call her an antagonist for this movie. It was good to see the repercussions of Civil War, like my colleague said. In my opinion, I don't think Birch really he didn't really need to be in the story whatsoever.
Thank you.
Like, really, if you take him out, not that much changes, in my opinion, in the whole story. That's just my opinion for that. This is a good movie because the grimness and darkness of Civil War, this is a good ha-ha comedy to kind of lift you up after what happened. And like the others said, you already know what's going to happen. It's good to see what happened pre-snap. And then during the after credits, you see what happens post-snap. Like Angel said, Scott's probably going to use that energy to travel through time, but I also have another theory that in Civil War, when Tony Stark was talking about some type of technology we can see your memories all over again, I think that's what that can also be a theory of what's going to happen with Civil War, with them trying to go back and see what can they do differently or see hidden things that they didn't see before. But overall, I'm just going to give Ant-Man and the Wasp a 2.
But I am definitely going to agree with Bucky on this, that this was a needed breather after just the sheer weight that was Civil War. I enjoyed it, and I just recently watched the original, so seeing this back to back, it's a little bit fresher in my mind. I do think some of the fights in the original are a little bit better than the fights in the sequel. I love Luis and his gang. Overall, though, good movie. I give it 3 Baba Yagas out of 4.